Hello and namaste everyone. So Poco recently announced these two smartphones, the Poco X5 and the Poco X5 Pro. I have already published my review of the Poco X5 Pro a little while ago, and in this video I will be going through my experience with the vanilla Poco X5. This phone is basically a rebranded Redmi Note 12 but with a more powerful processor and most importantly a much cheaper price tag. It starts at just $200 for the 6/128GB variant, and for that price, I think it's a killer value. So before I talk more about the phone in depth, let me quickly get on with the unboxing. Okay, this is a pretty standard box from Poco, nothing fancy here. Opening it up, we first have some paperwork alongside a case and a SIM ejector tool. Then we have the smartphone itself. I have it in this blue color, while you can also get the green and black options. Below it, you get a 33-watt fast charger and a USB Type-A to Type-C cable. So starting with the design, here as expected from a budget phone, the Poco X5 does not have any premium features like a glass back panel or aluminium frames, but it still is a pretty well built and a good looking phone. I like these slight curves on the sides that help with the grip, and it has a nice heft to it as well, despite being relatively lightweight. I also like this frosted back finish where the fingerprints and smudges don't look as pronounced as they would on a glossy back. That being said, this phone does not look that unique and refreshing. To be very honest, this repetitive design choice with such a camera island has grown a little boring over time to me. So I really think that Poco could step up its game in the design department. Regardless, one of the biggest, strongest points of the Poco X5 is definitely its display. Here you get a 6.67-inch AMOLED panel with full HD resolution, 120Hz refresh rate and DCI-P3 gamut. Thus, content looks sharp enough with excellent contrast and near accurate colors as expected. This screen can get plenty bright too, so even when you're on the terrace sunbasking in this cold weather, you won't have any problems with this display. Likewise, you will also enjoy using the 120Hz refresh rate with 240Hz dot sampling rate on this phone. Poco has optimized it pretty well, so everything from scrolling to multitasking feels incredibly smooth and responsive on this thing. But like the Redmi Note 12, the Poco X5 also misses out on a stereo speaker setup, so the content consumption experience, especially while listening to classical rock music, is not the best I've seen so far on this thing. Fortunately, there's still a headphone jack here for your wired earphones. As for the performance, the Snapdragon 695 chip on the Poco X5 is capable of handling your everyday tasks with ease. And in case you're wondering, its performance is identical to the Snapdragon 4 Gen 1 on the Redmi Note 12. Both of these chips have the same core architecture, except that the Snapdragon 695 CPU cores are clocked slightly faster, resulting in higher benchmark scores. Here, I haven't faced any micro stutters or lags in my daily usage. Apps open relatively fast and multitasking is decent as well. It's not quite as fast as the more expensive mid-range phones with Dimensity 1080 or Snapdragon 778G, nor it has that premium haptics while typing, but for the price, it's good enough. Similarly, you can play popular games like PUBG and Call of Duty at medium settings just fine, but you don't want to push to higher settings as it is not going to be that enjoyable. Another thing I like to highlight is that the Poco X5 still runs on Android 12 with an older MIUI 13, so that's something Poco desperately needs to improve. Plus, Xiaomi's MIUI is not known for the most stable software experience, and sadly, it's the same with the Poco X5 too. For instance, there's this weird bug in the Play Store where the screen decides to freeze randomly whenever I download an app. And I've also noticed a few times that the phone automatically disconnects from Wi-Fi. Okay, the Poco X5's triple camera setup is exactly identical to that of the Redmi Note 12, consisting of a 48 megapixel primary, an 8 megapixel ultrawide and a 2 megapixel macro lens, while there's a 13 megapixel selfie shooter up front. With so much in common, photos from both these phones look pretty similar in daytime scenarios. The main difference I've noticed is in terms of the color tone, where the Poco X5 images turn out a bit warm as it tries to achieve a natural look. whereas the Redmi Note 12 tends to boost the colors a bit to make it more pleasing. So it's all just a matter of personal preference on which one to go with. Low-light photos from both these phones also look pretty similar, with Poco once again adding a bit of warmth to the images. For portraits, I prefer the photos from Redmi here since they have a better sharpness and better skin tone. Poco X5, on the other hand, makes the subjects look a little pale for some reason. In terms of selfies though, both phones manage equally good shots. However, the 8-megapixel ultra-wide-angle images, they're exactly what you expect from a budget phone. They're strictly average with little detail to talk about. Its video recording capabilities are severely limited too. It can only record videos in 1080p 30fps from both the front and back cameras. And even in this resolution, the videos are not that great as they come out quite stuttery with narrow field of view, average dynamic range and such. But unlike the videos, Poco X5's battery life is really good, all thanks to that power-efficient Snapdragon 695 chip and an AMOLED panel. In my everyday usage, consisting of hours of social media scrolling, content consumption, and other routine activities, I have been getting around 8 hours of screen on time here, which means that it can easily last you for a day on heavy usage. For charging, its 33-watt power adapter takes about an hour to fully juice up this 500 mAh battery, so that is good too. Okay, to conclude this review, I believe the Poco X5 is an excellent value in the $200 price segment, or some 15,000 rupees if it launches in India. From a stunning AMOLED display to reliable Snapdragon 695 chip and decent cameras overall, it delivers in most aspects a budget smartphone should. It does miss out on a stereo speaker setup, while its design and build could have been a bit better as well. But the Poco X5 is still one of those budget phones I can call an all-round package. So guys, that was all for my unboxing and full review of the Poco X5. If you're looking for a budget phone for your parents or your kid or just for yourself, the Poco X5 is a phone that you should be considering. It's that good.